Alright guys, so this video is going to be explaining how to lower a 93 Ford Ranger, or really any Ford Ranger, so long as it has this leaf spring style in the back. I'm pretty sure they all do. It just has to look like this. It's got hanger in the back, hanger in the front. Anyways, this is going to be how to get a 5 to 6 inch drop. I haven't done it yet on this truck, obviously, but I have done it on my friend's truck, and it worked out super well. We like the results. The ride quality isn't changed a whole lot. If you ditch the factory shocks and you get new ones, it's incredible. If you just ditch the factory shocks and you drive it that way, it's going to be a little extra bouncy, but, you know, if you don't mind that, it's all right. You know, just don't go fast over big bumps, that kind of thing. And the ride quality won't be that great without shocks. But we did reuse the factory shocks. We just, you know, bottomed out. If you go over any kind of bump at all, you're going to bottom out the shocks. It's just how it is. So anyways, obviously I haven't done it yet on this truck, but when I do, I'll make a video about it. I'm just going to explain to you how it's done really quick and give you a brief overview of the parts. Just because when I went to research this for my specific truck, a 93 Ranger, or really a Ranger in general, I couldn't find anything on flipping the leaf springs. So basically, in order to remove the leaf springs, which is these things here, what you're going to want to first do is jack up the back of the car. And you can do that by the frames, but I use this little engine puller thing. I just hooked it up right here. I hooked it up right here-ish, and I just jacked it up. And the big thing is you want the wheels to be off the ground. That's the big deal. You want all the tension off of these leaf springs, and you can't jack it up from the diff or the axle because, you know, obviously the leaf springs are connected to the axle, and so if you jack up the axle, you're putting tension on the leaf springs, and you don't want that. So what you need to do after you get all the tension off of the leaf springs is you need to undo these 4 bolts here. Most of the time they're pretty stuck on there, not gonna lie. You're gonna need a big breaker bar. And then you're gonna undo this hanger bolt. Once you have gotten these undone, you're gonna undo the front hanger like this, and then there's a nut on the back that you're gonna need to hold. So bolt, nut, and then you're gonna want to do the same thing with the rear hanger. There's a nut, you know, here, and then a bolt back there, obviously. And once you undo that, you're basically done. You're just gonna have to remove this one center bolt here. And basically what that center bolt does is it holds all these leaf springs together. They're actually riveted together. You can see that right here. But this one bolt here holds the leaf springs from shifting around on the axle. And so that's where the first problem arises with doing this on a Ranger. Because you can see here, there's this little block in there. See that thing down there on the bottom of or on the top of the axle? That's a block, and that is what this bolt goes to. And as you can see, obviously, that's not a thing on the bottom of the axle. That's not there. So unless you want to go super sketchy ghetto mode, and because basically if you don't have that bolt in there, your axle is going to be like sliding back and forth, and you don't want that. That's not safe. So basically what we did before is we cut that little block off of the top of the axle because it's welded on. We cut it off and we welded it onto the bottom of the axle, and then the bolt went right in. So basically, after you have gotten them off and you've cut that block off and welded it onto the bottom, you're not going to change the arc of the spring at all. It's gonna look the exact same as it does right now, except this, hold on, except this thing here will now be on the bottom, and the U-bolts, see right there, U-bolts, the U-bolts will be on the top. So they'll probably be around here or there. So you're just flipping this part and the U-bolts here in the nuts. And basically, once you have done this on both sides, once you've taken them both off, you're just going to want to jack the axle up a little bit so you can actually fit the leaf springs underneath the axle. Flip that top part, and you're done. That's it. That's all there is to flipping the leaf springs. Honestly, the hardest part is that little block down there that you... Oh, let me get the light. That little block right there that you have to cut off and put on the bottom. Anyways, that's just a little information on it. I know it's obviously not done, so take it with a grain of salt. But I have done it before, and it worked out remarkably well. I just couldn't find any information on it, when I went to research it to do it on my own truck. By the way, 93 Ford Ranger, 4-liter overhead valve, all that good stuff. Anyways, just a little informational video. Leave any questions you have in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer them. But everything here that you see in the leaf spring assembly can be reused. You can reuse everything. It's free if you know how to weld. Anyways, thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions.